gotta go through.
Oh, yeah, Blackson and music. Oh, super. God, and that's so here. Hey, hey, Jamal,
Hey there.
what's going on? What's going on?
Okay, so wait, give me 1 second because there's some kind of feedback in
Microphone.
my earphones. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to you. Hold on, there we go.
Okay.
Uh First of all, I have to like give big props for your new
Ben Cat,
graphics,
Ben Cat.
then cap. Ah, great job. Yeah, that's I mean, I'm seeing your progression here. Nice job. Yeah. So but I heard about the U.S. news. I mean, you know what's fun about getting news from the U.S. when you're not in the U.S. is you realize how much propaganda there is. Yeah, shout out to Venkat. Hi, Deacon. So yeah, absolutely. I think that it's just amazing, how much propaganda there is and how much need there is to control the mind of every single singular American citizen
Right.
uh, for their benefit, against their benefit, and certainly against each other and against everybody else. So what's the news lately, Black
Okay,
Sun?
so the latest news is that allegedly a Chinese balloon has been shot out of the sky. And this balloon went from Montana to South Carolina in 2 days.
So a balloon from China started in Montana.
Well,
I mean,
alleged, well, I,
are we talking about Chinese Americans or what?
I I don't think I think they're trying to loot the actual China.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh so hard, but okay. Mhm.
Yeah, they really trying to humor us and distract us with that nonsense.
I'm entertained.
Right, I am too.
Yes, yes. Okay, so shall I share my footage?
Yes, please do. Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
So 1 week ago, I went out for my morning run. So every morning I start at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I enjoy my me time in my run. And during my run, wait, let me find the right application. Here we go, the camera. So during my run, I came across a great surprise. This is why I run at 5 a.m. because at 5 in the morning you come across great images like this. So those little dots that you can see are balloons, air balloons.
right.
And I'll give you some more footage of it.
Okay.
Here's these are my two favorite, which I'm gonna post
Yeah, heart.
very
Yeah.
soon. The heart and the grenade.
Good. Oh,
Yeah, isn't that
okay.
awesome?
Okay.
Isn't that awesome? I
Wow.
mean, that's just waiting for a theme song by Bruno Mars, right?
Right.
It's just like waiting for it. And then on top of that, here, there's a close up of them.
Okay.
These are balloons going across the sky. This is the balloon, one of the balloons, strawberry balloon, actually lighting up in the
Right.
middle. So
Okay.
I'll even press my live feed so you can see it lighting up itself. Wait,
Okay.
give me a second. Oh wait, did I do a live on this? Oh no, sorry. I switched live off. This is not live.
Oh, okay. Okay.
These are the mini balloons that went across the sky that morning.
Okay.
It was absolutely gorgeous. As you could see, I mean, how much sky they covered on that day. And some more footage of balloons going across the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Angel. So, yes, absolutely. And here's some more footage of balloons going across the sky. That was another one where one of the
Hmm.
balloons is lighting up.
Yes.
And this is only 1 week ago. Only
Okay.
1 week ago here. Quite often, this is overhead. I love this shot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You can
Okay.
see all of the balloons going across the sky. This is them at the beginning, just speckling the sky, as you can see.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. I have a little bit more footage. I'll show you. Give me 1 second,
Okay.
and I'm gonna show you some live footage of the balloons lighting up. Because that was this week, but
Right.
let's say 2 weeks earlier,
Okay.
I was out for my 5 a.m. morning run because you know why I get up so early to go running.
Right.
It's because when you get up early, you get to see everything.
That's right.
And this is footage
Oh, the
of
balloons.
uh
They're
of
lifting
the
up.
balloons.
Okay.
Yep. And you see them lighting up.
Okay.
Look how long it
Oh yeah.
takes
Right.
just to
Yeah.
lift them to the sky.
Right. Right.
Isn't that beautiful?
Hmm.
Absolutely gorgeous. So that's one footage, and this is the earlier footage of that,
Okay.
where they're
Yeah.
just trying to get it upright. So
Right.
they're
Right. Right.
just inflating them, and then they're trying to get that hot air just to get them to lift all the way
Right.
upward.
Right.
They can lift in the sky. So
Okay.
what's interesting about this story that you shared with me, where a Chinese balloon, a spy balloon
Right.
specifically, made it all the way to from China to Montana in a couple of days, is nearly impossible. I mean, unless this is hyperdrive balloon,
Right.
there is absolutely no way for that balloon to make it from China all the way to
Yeah.
China all the way to Montana unsuspected.
Right. Right.
Absolutely impossible.
Right.
It took half a morning, half a early morning for two balloons, as I just showed you footage,
Yes.
because very regularly balloons go into the air here. It's a very big sport here. Every sport that gets here becomes a big sport because it's a small country. There's not much going on here.
Right.
So when you have balloons hitting the air, if you're up early enough, everybody's gonna know about it, and especially with Nature Mom, you're gonna get some footage of this happening live because I like to wake up early,
Right.
and just to hear the news that there's a Chinese spy balloon brings one question to mind. Why did we go from China being enemy to friend to enemy in just a 2-month span?
Right.
That's a very interesting question to me. So, as we can see, it can take more than half of a morning just to get them to travel, less than 5 miles overhead.
Right.
So to say that they're a spy balloon that made it all the way from the Middle East to Montana and then across Montana before they got suspected means that there's something suspicious going on in my mind.
Right.
So, I'm curious to hear from you. Like, what do you think about this?
I think it's a ploy because just the other day, Biden wants to concede giving 20% of Ukraine to Russia, which Russia wanted in the first place. But because, and I got a debate coming up on the 11th. Shout out to Rio, shout out to Angel, shout out to Solar. Oh, let me say this while I got Angel in here because she's in here right now. I don't want Angel to miss this. Angel,
I missed it.
my apologies. Nature Mom, your mom, Angel's a mom. Y'all have had children that just go into stuff and just be messing with stuff. Might go into an appliance store, start pressing buttons and all that. That's what Blackson did. So I have a variety show. We have an eclectic of other people, and because I'm still discovering things. I'm just pressing things, and so there was a troll, and he was trolling Angel. So
Black Sun, you have a lot of trolls.
what? YouTube, baby. YouTube. I mean, you can't have trolls, not have trolls on YouTube. So, anywho, Blackson is going to ban himself from other people's shows. So, and I want to give apologies to Gynocracy because I find myself micromanaging their shows. No, it is their show. So, Gynocracy, apologize to you because I went into their show. I just started pressing button in background, and I'm just like going crazy, because Venkat and yeah, it goes Gynocracy. Gynocracy, sorry, I'm banning myself from your show. I was micromanaging. Like I said, I'm in there like a little kid. You tell a little kid, hey, stop doing that. They go, okay. You turn around.
Touch.
So apologies to Gynocracy Takeover. Apologies to Angel. My apologies. Okay, so we can get back into the politics. So yeah, I think it's funny. The balloon appeared at the same time. Biden said, you know what? Let them have Donbass. Let them have it because Americans are really starting to get pissed off.
I mean, it's not just Americans. If I can give you a European POV,
Uh-huh.
um, you know, people have been very exhausted by this war. Let's say even a month or so after its incept.
Right.
So sorry. I have a interrupting call, and I'm not sure if it's important or not. Can I check
Yeah.
it very
Yeah,
quickly?
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Sorry, sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
hello.
hey, y'all. Real quick.
Hi.
It's okay, Black Son. You don't do anything. I
Oh,
appreciate
you're. Can you
you
please ring the doorbell?
enjoying my discussion today. Oh, okay. So
Thank
tonight,
you.
we
Thank
just
you.
got it. We need a real
Yeah,
man.
just ding dong. Yeah.
Okay, so tonight on
Thank
Angel,
you. Bye.
Trevor is getting
Oh,
invitation,
sorry.
myself. So y'all, and I know Yanga, man, I know Yanga wants to hear this too.
So
So
sorry, you guys.
yeah. Oh, no problem, no problem. No, no. Angel was just saying she's having a show tonight. So Angel, again, apologies to you for a lot, pressing buttons at the wrong time. I do apologize. Angel, if you want, you can send your email address and we can give you an admin. Give you an admin. And you can promote, just come in and promote your show. Do it like that. Same with solar. You can use the arena to promote. In fact, I'm gonna do and in fact, I want to invite Rio. Rio, start coming on here. I'm gonna give you an admin
Oh,
and start promoting your.
I love what Angel's saying. She
Yeah.
wants to talk about real relationships. Woo, you're talking about some psychology for me. So I wouldn't mind joining that conversation.
I'm sure Angel would love to have you.
Yeah, it was actually one of the topics that I've just been writing about in sociology and psychology. So it'd be fun to add that to conversation, And if I can just add, one of the things I wanted to suggest to you, Black Sun, is one of our toxic topics. Sorry, im- like impeding myself.
Okay.
How to eliminate toxic relationships. So yeah, this is an important one. Yeah, I think.
I think not only
So
Empress on
Deacon likes this. Okay, thanks, Deacon.
yeah.
I
Oh,
love it. She said, "Bring your wine."
y'all
I
allowed
love turning that water right into
to
that wine,
put your-
right?
Are you guys allowed to drink wine in Qatar, or am I
Uh, okay, so for Muslims, wine is haram.
haram?
Uh, yes, it's haram, so
Haram.
not allowed. In Polish, they say nie wolno. Yes, it's not
Jednom,
allowed. Nie
jednom,
wolno. Yes,
jednom,
nie wolno.
jednom,
Exactly.
jednom.
Uh, but for non-Muslims, they do give you a license. You can apply for a license to be able to purchase alcohol in this country and in the GCC in general. So yeah, so it's a very interesting
Okay,
topic though. Relationships. I
hold on.
love this.
I got to address Angel. Angel, you are only allowed to drop your channel if you're not. I'm sorry. No, go ahead and drop your channel. I don't know why people keep asking me. Like,
No,
why
it's
people keep asking
advertisement.
me? Yeah,
It's
like,
advertisement.
yeah, like y'all.
It's a
Trevor,
polite
hey,
way of
Trevor,
asking.
look, Trevor has a show on here, and he has Black son, can I post my shot? I'm like, what the
It's
heck's wrong with
respect. It's
people?
no, it's respect because
Okay,
I
that's
mean,
fine.
as you know, Black Hair Society,
Uh huh.
we don't like people to come into Black Hair Society and to just advertise because we know that a lot of their advertisements are actually harmful for people because they're not considering everyone's hair situation, and we're not just trying to sell things, we're trying to promote health in the Black Hair Society. So I get it. I'm assuming because I'm new to YouTube through you, so I'm assuming that there's trying to be the same respect here, that we're not just trying to sell people, we're trying to educate.
Okay, okay.
So I hope it's all about education, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Empress, y'all do know this is an open panel discussion.
I have
Y'all can
no
come
idea
in.
who Empress is.
Empress is from England. She's our
Ah, oh, I've met Empress. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I've met Empress and I've conversed.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
I'm trying to
sorry, Empress.
remember
I do remember.
now. Yeah, because Empress, she's from England, but a lot of black people from England have this slight Jamaican accent. So I don't know. It maybe I hear like a
Yeah,
slight.
you have a lot of Jamaicans
Yeah, I
who
hear a lot of.
immigrated, and unfortunately, I know of the situation they're personally through. A lot of my friends who've immigrated there and still aren't naturalized. So it's a tough situation in England, because you do have a culture within a culture,
Right,
and a culture that helped build that country is still not being respected.
right.
So I totally get that
Well,
100%.
well, well freedom is a constant struggle, and this is something that not only black people in America, but black people are. We just have a natural knack for freedom, and that's what I was trying to explain to Zanzi. We have a natural, and I have to check myself because, like I said, the arena's growing, and I find myself going on the people's shows and micromanaging. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What the
Mm.
what am I doing? So yeah, I apologize to Democracy Take Over and Yanga and Sister Angel because I was just like going crazy with and I'm still going crazy with the backgrounds and
I get
I'm
you.
excited. Yeah,
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
yeah,
I think from our experience, when you have so much wisdom that was passed down to you, sometimes it's really hard to, let's say, bite your tongue on allowing people to develop their own way.
hmm
And, just sharing from my experience as a mother and as an educator and as a person who's worked in the social sector, it's
right,
really hard, to keep your tongue when you find ways that worked as best practices
right.
in different genres that you've worked in, or that you've been in.
Okay,
And when you realize that other people have been in through their own genres, it's really
right,
hard not to speak up. And let me just add that to moving from country to country.
right.
uh, you know let me be honest with you. Americans come in every country I've been in, the first thing I say to every American is, don't expect it to be like America. Step back and
Vague.
just watch.
That's kind of vague though. That's vague.
Okay,
I
so let me
think
be more
because
specific.
okay, but okay, go ahead, Nature Mom. I don't mean to interrupt.
Okay. So I'll be no, no, no. So you said it's vague. I'll be
It's
specific.
right because
You know,
people here in black YouTube don't understand freedom. Like you got the freedom. Like
and that's
I
just the
don't really go on
thing.
a rant. Yeah. Eric,
Freedom.
Eric's a new
The
guy.
the,
Man, Eric, jump on the panel if you want to, man. Brother, his brother, oh man, this brother.
the concept of freedom that we know in America, even as Black people, the concept that we understand, the access to goods, the ability to just go on Amazon and order what you want is very American.
Right,
When you travel to a post-communist or a newly exonerated communistic country that barely has like food on the shelves that you even recognize, when
right,
you come to a country that doesn't, you can't just like go to your CVS and buy your like instant umbrella like you're used to.
Right.
you really start to understand the freedoms that you really have when you come from a place like United States. With the mistake that a lot of Americans make, and I've witnessed this from country to country over and over, and I always try to be warned, is don't come with an American attitude that I shall be served. Because yes, you've earned your money, and in America, you earn your money, and on the weekend, you want to be served as you want to be served. But in countries like this, um, they earn their money too the hardest way, and they don't really care how you want to be served. So the most polite way to come forward is to, respect what's on the menu where you're going, and not expecting the service to be as you think it should, and being grateful that you're going to get something on your table that won't like make you sick at the end of the day. And just like, just being like, okay, thank you for your kindness, because that's the best way to not be sick and not to be messed up at the end of the day. And a lot of Americans don't realize that. A lot of Americans come into other countries with their ideologies that are based on where they're from.
Okay.
And coming into other countries, like, I spent my hard-earned money, serve me, and coming in that way. And not everyone comes in so hard, but what I'm saying is that there's this like directness in servitude, that we
Mm,
expect in the United States, that is not in the rest of the world. And it comes across very arrogant, and it does not go over well in other countries. So I always say, don't expect people to perform as you are used to. Don't expect their expressions to express what you're used to. You know, if you want to be in a different country, come with an open mind and be
right.
willing to learn on a new turf. And that's always worked very well for me. I've had great experiences living abroad, and I've had many people who shared horrible experiences with me as they've lived abroad, and we've lived in the same places.
Right.
And I've never had a bad experience, because I expect to not have a bad experience. I'm open, but then, when something is not right, my eyes are so wide open that I'm gonna call you out directly. When it's just like human to human, not right or fair. But if it's just about like this need to feel served, I don't need to feel served. I just want you to like give me what
Right.
you're,
Right.
I just I don't need you to, making me feel like I'm the queen for the day. I just, I came in for, a falafel sandwich. Just give me a falafel sandwich that's not going to give me like botulism, please. And
Right.
I'm good with that, you
Okay.
know. And so I think that that's the difference. Americans are highly well served. Even,
They
let's
said
say,
Americans
if
are
you,
spoiled. Cause you're being nice here, Nature Mom. You're being nice.
a
I really do. Are you being?
little bit,
Are you being this spoiled? See,
a little bit.
between me and you, you're
Yeah,
breaking up.
I think
I
Empress just
know.
said it. You need to have a global view. You need to be humble and be respected. Well, exactly. You can't come in like you are some, like you are the next Caesar. Because remember, Caesar was assassinated. So like, if you wanna, if you don't wanna like be sick,
Right.
show some respect. Just show some. And I think that that's the thing that we kind of miss in US. We're moving
See,
so fast in the US that
that's
we
why,
forget.
even though I'm nice to people in the U.S., wherever I go, I order no mayonnaise.
That too. Never order anything is that's suspect. But on top of that, like when you're ordering things, you want to make sure that you are expecting that you're going to treat that person as if it's their 9 to 5 job. They're supporting their families with this
Absolutely.
job. They're not supporting you. And I think that sometimes in the US, when I come home and I'm a little bit shocked, because I forget about how some people speak to other people, in the service industry, and I forget the expectations.
Hmm.
And so I think that the expectations in the US are very high, and rightfully so, because in the US you can get whatever product you want anywhere. Anywhere with a, Amazon order. You can't get that anywhere, you guys. When you're in the US, you can order any style of food from breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You can't get that anywhere else in the world. So when you're in another place, I think that the most important thing that I found is connecting to the people no matter where I am, everywhere. And that has made the biggest difference. I- I've made friends everywhere. People who will support me from US all the way to UK, which is difficult. UK is a tough country,
You can't.
and
Yeah, a lot to say about
all the way
UK.
to
Yeah.
Germany, Italy, France, Poland. You know,
Well, Jam-
I've met Jamaica. Oh,
yeah.
Jamaicans are tough, and if I can make friends in Jamaica, you guys, friends can be made there. Jamaicans have to stand hard for their country, because let's not forget, since almost the 1980s, it was occupied and left for dead when it was no longer occupied. So, when we go places, we just got to show some simple kindness to each other, and it's amazing what you can get. And I have to say, I wouldn't be here now, with these beautiful candles behind me, not set up by myself,
Mhm.
because we still don't have the nice backdrop yet. We're
Right,
still
right.
working on that.
Working on it.
Uh,
Working on it.
we wouldn't have all that without the respects that we've learned as we traveled around. And, so I just have to say, hey, Angel, I have to say that, the respects that we have here in the arena community, if it could be amplified throughout the world, we'd have world peace already.
Good thing you brought that up. Good thing you brought that up.
Okay.
Shout out to Inyame. Inyame was
Okay.
the other day, and he says that there's no black leaders speaking out the way we used to on, peace and all that stuff. And I said, Inyame, I'm gonna say it again, Inyame. That's your job to do on the arena here, buddy. That's your job to do here on the arena, buddy. White man's no longer gonna hold your hand. We're 1 foot in the grave, and we got to live it up to the niggers now. Black people of America, listen to White Son. I know we've been bad and hard on the niggers, but I'm saying you guys are the freedom backbone of this country. So, Yami, if you want
Oh
to
gosh.
go on that what's that boy named Black, that one with the deadlocks on his head, Black Son. All the niggers on that goddamn show, the arena, I love it. God damn it. Makes me proud to be American. Trump 2024. Okay, I'm sorry.
You know, if I could remind you, we had a show. You and I, we had a show together, and that was like back in 1980s.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh! And it was a radio show, or a telephone show, even over the radio. And we had a speaker who was the Grand Duke of the Ku Klux Klan. If
that
you
was
remember that.
Tom Metzger. Yeah, shout out to Tom Metzger. Yeah, he's
Oh
Grand
my
Richard.
gosh!
Yeah,
Oh
he's
my
Grand
gosh! Like, I just remember the difficulty of that show,
Yeah,
because one, um, the audience wasn't listening to what he was saying. They were so angry that he was Ku Klux Klan that they couldn't hear his message.
former Klan,
And
former.
okay, so now he's former. He wasn't former then. He
Yeah, yeah,
was the Grand Duke at that time.
yep.
If I
Also the
recall,
grandfather of the skinheads, but go on. Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Nature.
if I'm not mistaken, he was active, because I remember he was serving some information about his active duty and the, let's say, assignments that he was being delegated, and his lack of trust in those assignments that he was being delegated. And his last message to us at the end of that show was, because there were so many callers that were so angry that he was just Ku Klux Klan at that time, they weren't hearing what he was saying. And his message was that he trusts the Ku Klux Klan less than he trusts us. And his message to us was, a revolution will happen. And when it happens, I'm just asking you, don't shoot me in the back and I will not shoot you in the back. And that was his message at the end of the show. I'll never forget that day. It was really a pivotal moment in my life because it really helped me to understand politics at that point in my
Right.
young life. And it helped me to realize that people, depending on their surroundings, they play the political game, but they don't trust necessarily. They don't trust the circuit that they're a part of,
Right. Right.
and so he told us the message at the end of that conversation that he trusted us more than he trusted the group that he grew up in.
Yeah.
And I think that that is one of the things that I've learned traveling across the world. Many places I go, I found more people trusting me more than people that they grew up with. Just based on the frankness and honesty that's presented, and like we said before, not having this position of hierarchy, but really meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
And I think that that is a very important, position in the world. So when we're going back to this balloon, that's going on, this Chinese balloon. I mean, what's the message right now? Because for a long time, China and Russia were our biggest threats
Right.
economically
Yeah.
and politically, right? We were expecting for the last 20 years that China would become the next economic order in the world. We
Right.
were being fed that information for the last 20 years.
Right.
In the United States, especially California, we're being told all the properties that are being foreclosed on are being bought by Chinese nationals.
Mhm.
And, oh gosh, I'm not really sure. They jealous because nature mom cleaned her house. Okay. Oh, I love that. Anyways, thank you. Go ahead, take over. Um, so anyways, long story short, there's been this like propaganda flow that's been going on for a long time for us to, let's say, enter a cold war with China.
Right.
Okay, so is it justified or not? Okay, yes, we know that China has taken over a lot of African countries. They have completely blackwalled African citizens from being gainfully employed in their own countries. We know about
Oh.
this. Oh yeah, we're clear.
Oh.
Oh, we're clear. We're clear. You know, um, I mean, should I go into detail, or did I
Please,
just like step
please
on some
do.
toes?
Please do.
Okay, so I'll tell you, about Zambia, for example. Chinese companies have gone into Zambia to build infrastructure, build roads, build huge
Hospitals.
electronic companies, to build a lot of,
Hospitals.
hospitals, but particularly pharmaceuticals.
Right.
So we won't even say hospitals necessarily, but pharmaceuticals,
Okay.
and
Fair enough.
particular railways that will help their economy. And not one Zambian have gotten jobs. Let's say, like, in the new political arena, maybe they've hired their token Zambians so that they can get off of the radar. But we're aware, we're not stupid people. We're keeping abreast. And yes, I do have Zambian friends, who are affected. I know that they're going through blackouts every single day at this point. But let's ask the question: are these Chinese companies that are running these electrical and fiber optic wires, are they going through blackouts the same way that regular Zambian citizens are? I would say no. And they're getting the majority of the jobs, particularly the higher positions, whether they're qualified or not. And are they blackwalling Zambians who are educated from these positions? Okay, let's ask Zambians, and I can bring on some Zambians, and we'll get firsthand account from them.
Right.
Um, so I'm not going to speak for them, but I'll definitely say that I'm not seeing a lot of Zambians or the Zambian government getting a lot of those contracts that are coming to their country. And there were two countries that were coming in and taking up most of those contracts, which was China and Russia. So were the native citizens getting those contracts at the same degree? I would say no.
So now, Nature Mom, I got to put you on the spot now.
Okay, put me on the spot.
You said that when you go to other countries, you have to respect their cultures and ways. Now, let me say this: are you
Okay.
looking from economics and labor from an American perspective?
No,
Labor
I
laws,
mean, living here in the Middle East
right?
and seeing the way that they protect their people
Okay,
from economic exploitation is amazing. There is not one country that comes into these countries, not one other company that comes into these countries, and their citizens are not getting a chunk of those businesses. These Middle Eastern companies, as much a country, sorry, as much as people want to talk mess about, let's say the education, the perspective of being able to compete with Western countries, the way that I've seen these Middle Eastern countries protect their people, particularly Qatar, making sure that every single citizen is getting a percentage of the gains is amazing. I mean, when we look at America, with such a huge economic, powerful country that doesn't think twice about its citizens and does not get us anything, not education, not housing, not basic, our basic needs met, where these citizens, they're getting their education covered, they're getting their housing covered, they get
right,
a car through the government covered, they get, I mean, basically if free food. Even there's food programs
okay,
not based on poverty, there's food programs just based on citizenship,
right,
that's making sure that your economic citizenship and your coverage of basic need is taken care of through the
okay.
government, and it's not a part of your living expense.
Wow. So how do they? Well, damn. Uh,
Okay, so I like that question. Keep going. How do they cover that? That's why you have the highest percentage of wealth per capita in the world for this country. Yes, it's a small population,
right.
but
Okay.
their government was smart enough, whether it's a theological government or not, whatever it is, their government was smart enough to think of their people first and to say, we will make sure that you are covered from education to the food that goes on your table to the car that you drive and the house you live in. They can claim a property here, any holy land property, and they can say they can apply for this property, and if it's available to them, they get free property.
But Nature Mom, let me and Empress, you can come on because I know this is ringing and right in your ears because it's right up your alley. Nature Mom, let me say this.
I agree, Empress. I like what she just put. They are off the chain. It's amazing how they protect their future interests as a country.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
yet we're from, I mean, Empress is from the UK, we're from the US. You would think that these big empires would be protecting their ground, because we have more citizens per capita. So you would think that they would be protecting every single interest that comes in the country. And unfortunately, what we've seen, especially through Nasty Uncle Joe, is that they undermine us at every turn possible. You know, they'll sell us out for everything. It's like I can't even think of what they haven't sold us out for. We definitely don't get our education for free. Libya, a country that's been considered an enemy of the US for what, 30 years now. They
Hmm.
give their citizens homes, they give their citizens education, they give their citizens the basic necessities. Yet our country does not consider basic necessities a human like endeavor as far as the government is concerned.
So when they build those homes, how are those homes? You know, 'cause you got to have construction. How are those paid for? Are there subsidies
So
from the government?
there are subsidies.
Okay.
There are particularly okay. So there's many different subsidized structures.
Hmm.
So you have the like I said, sorry, educational subsidized structure, which is completely separate. You
Okay.
want to complete your education, every level of education, from your primary, secondary degree, all the way up to your university, your first year, 4 years bachelor degree, to your master's degree, to your doctor degree. Each one of those levels have an increase of a subsidy that goes to you as a citizen here. Each level. So it's not like US where, they give you your, what, $1,500 a year Pell Grant, and they expect for you to figure it out and survive the rest. They cover you fully. And what I understand, and I have to investigate this more deeply, but the way that I understand it, as a Qatari citizen, they will even send you to full education, master doctorate degree in US, and
Right.
all they're asking for is 9 months of service in their
Right.
government sector. 9 months.
Wow. So that's actually a benefit, man. Oh man, I actually like that.
So you're benefiting your government, and you don't have to serve very long in order to pay off your debt.
Interesting.
Yet in the US, I mean, what was the bill that just to get the stipend, to get, if you weren't, a billionaire, to get, what were they offering, 10,000 off of your student loan last year, if
Right.
I'm not mistaken. That was the maximum that you could get, unless you were well inclined and well connected. You could get much more, because we know that there were billions that were paid off from
Yeah.
those, but those weren't average citizens that were
Yeah,
getting the billions, dear
yeah,
deal.
Sleepy Joe, he he uh he doubled back on that. He did a double take on that.
Well, maybe because he thought he was talking to roaches.
Right. I mean, the hairs on his legs.
Trevor is saying America only feeds on beast. Its people, yes, exactly, are just links in a chain. And what I really respect are these countries, that I'm visiting, and they really know the value and the strength of their citizens,
Right.
and that it's the backbone, the true backbone of their country, versus, this Western POV, where, we are just pawns in the game to, make sure that their independent, jet flights to pedophile islands are covered, and making sure that their, private, I have a lot of, if you could hear in my voice, I have a lot of upset behind, all this cover up, about children being hurt through our government officials, through our public, officials. And yet it's been covered up by COVID-19 and many other ploys. And yet our
Chinese
citizens,
balloons.
struggle. Our citizens lose their job. Our citizens are the ones who have to, get the tail end of the stick, while high, corporate banking institutions that create these bubbles that we keep on exploding from, get, $1 trillion checks that aren't even being accounted for yet. We still haven't gotten the full number. It was 19 billion, like 7 years ago, and then we found out it was like 40 billion, or even upwards to 3 trillion today. So we don't even have the real numbers yet, because we have these, inflation hikes that are still covering their bill, yet we're paying for it. So, yeah, I've got a lot of issues when it comes to the way that we get a lot of perks as Americans. We have access to every product on the planet easily within our country, but we pay it at the highest price possible. Our children pay for it.
So Eric has a question. He said, "Are they allowed individuality in those Middle Eastern nations?" That's a good question.
Huh.
And then the second part,
Okay.
okay, and then would it benefit us to live under a theocracy like many of those nations? I got something to say about that, but go ahead, H. Mom.
Okay, so it's for Eric.
That's
Are
it.
they allowed individuality? I mean, come on, everybody's an individual. Are they allowed their individuality their way? Absolutely. They have more freedoms. Let's say, for example, I know we're gonna skirt. Oh, look, he's hitting me with the gavel already. But I'm gonna tell you from experience, not just from media. From experience, when you have three, four, five identities and your identities can skirt uh, let's say mainstream culture, yes, you have much more individuality in that reality than you do now. When Let me be very honest, if I can finish, thank you.
That's fine. That's
it,
fine.
when you have the ability, I mean, because what is individuality? Individuality is autonomy. And in these cultures, when you have the autonomy to have your mainstream lifestyle, and that's one thing. And you can completely segment your lover's life, your gay life, your travel life. Everything is segmented. Yes, in each one of these lives, you have individuality. You are not bound to one particular individualism in any one of those lives, because when you're ready, you just switch to which life suits you the best. In the US, we are taught a very different way. We're taught we are individuals. I want to live my way, full time, here, there, and never again, disrupt that. And we always have to live in conflict of those who are in conflict of our individuality. When you have multiple lifestyles, like many people live here, you have much more individualism, because who knows which life you're living at that particular moment? Who can identify you from one moment to the next when you have 4 to 5 different personalities that is presented to society? So it's really a matter of perspective.
Okay, can I give it perspective, Nature Mom, on that first
Please,
question? Okay.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
freedom of religion here in America allows black people, especially here on YouTube, to make up all kind of cults. So, being that a theocracy, the government controls the religion, correct?
To a degree, yes.
To a degree. So, you're talking about, okay, so people on here, they're not going by the government's interpretation. They're going by their own interpretation of Islam, Christianity, and some form of Judaism they call the Hebrew Israelitism. And because of the freedom of religions, we got people just freestyling, doing their thing, Bible, 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 Quran. And so, how would that work in a theocratic country?
Absolutely the same. I mean,
Really?
people, like I said, absolutely the same. So people have I mean, you have people who are very practicing Muslims who are atheists in their true beliefs. They are lesbians, they are gay, they have their multiple personalities. And I'm not taking anything away from any, because I think that people should have the right to choose their lifestyle. And I don't want to be in their bedroom. I don't want to be behind their books of practice. And I think that you get much more freedom in places like this to be away from that in many different ways. One, through economic means. Economically, you can very easily leave this place with the support of the country, your family, and the country as a whole, and be away from it for a quite amount of time and live as you want to live in any other place all over the world on their dime. And you get a freedom that Americans will never see. So that's one point. Secondly, and you don't understand that unless you are inside of a culture like this, where I think the biggest oppression, like many people can relate to in the United States as well, is the family pressure. It's not the theology that's pressuring you as much as your family culture itself, that expects you to perform the lifestyle that they want you to perform, to do it the way that they see fit. And I think that you can meet a lot of people in the United States who can highly attest to that reality. But let's talk about like economic means. When
Hold on,
you are,
hold on. I hear the economic means. I don't mean to interrupt you, Nature Mom, but you got to
that's
understand
okay.
that there are some things that there has to be given up. Correct? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot.
On what level?
Censorship.
But only in this country. How easy is it for them to get on a plane and be uncensored somewhere else?
But see, you're oh, Nature Mom.
I'm
Come on.
just saying, we're talking about freedom here. So, what is freedom? Freedom is
Who
being
said that?
able to get access to what you want when you want it. So, I think that there's a lot more people here that have access to what they want when they want it at the drop of a hat versus those of us who are
That's
from a country that's considered free.
so. That's one stage of freedom. That's one stage.
I mean, I think it's a one stage of freedom that is much higher than our freedom that we see in the United States.
Ah,
So let me give another example. You know, I am from a highly zealous family. They have very strong religious beliefs, but economically, I have the opportunity to go to any school I want anywhere in the world at the drop of a hat, and all I got to do is book the ticket and go. Can you find any particularly black person in the United States who have that ability within a month to do something like that? Secondly, can you find any white person in the United States who have that ability within a month to do something like that? Where I can tell you first, secondhand accounts of people who can do that very easily. They are leaving the country whenever they need be, and they have freedoms that they would not be able to have inside their country so easily without the opinions of people, without a lot of like pressure from the community. Yet financially, they're able to just step to France, step to Germany, step to Poland, step to US, and have those freedoms at the drop of a hat that American, a German, a French, and a Polish cannot have.
okay. So we done started something between Eric and Poik Empress in the chat. Shout out to both of y'all. Eric, Empress, if y'all
Okay.
got time, I know Eric's at work, but
He says
I
that
don't.
we just seen how Catcher pulled the rug. Okay, I'm curious what you mean. How did they pull the rug? Because Budweiser, they did a lot. Budweiser and FIFA are like their own country that's more powerful than every country in the world. So I'm curious what you think, how they pulled the rug under Budweiser. So if you could elaborate a little bit more.
I agree with
Wait, so I don't get it. I think my anxiety would be high living under shy. Okay, um, why? Why would it be so high anxiety? I mean, because let's be honest, there was a lot of
American.
propaganda all over the world that was talking about like I think there were a lot of UK citizens that were propagandizing, and US as well, um, about they were so afraid of being stoned while they were here, and then they discovered that more than 70% of the culture here are gay. So I don't really understand, like, what would you be
Wait, say
feeling
that
so
again.
much
Say that
pressure?
again. How many percentage of Qatar is gay?
I
Actually,
mean,
you know what?
I don't have the
No,
actual
okay,
percentage
okay.
because there is no percentage on it,
Shout out to
but
Yanga. Shout out to Yanga. Yanga, because when you told me that the monarchy of Qatar was thinking about, legalizing gay marriage, man, I called Yanga. I said, Yanga, Yanga,
who said that? They are
Yanga.
not considering.
Oh no, no. Did you say? Oh, they're not considering it. I'm sorry.
No, they're not
Okay,
considering legalizing gay marriage. They don't need to.
they don't need
Why
to.
would they? They don't need to,
Why they don't need to?
because gay culture is so prevalent here that why would they need to legalize it? They
Oh,
don't need to sensationalize it, which is what the US and other Western countries do,
Gay
but
culture
they
is
don't need
so
to
prevalent
legalize
here
it.
that why would they need to legalize
oh.
it? They don't need to sensationalize it.
Amber, we get like cut off your I think your window, whatever you're listening to, cut that off because now you can get the audio from here because it's feedbacking. But Eric, don't leave me up here with the Empress and Damn Nature Mom by myself. Don't do it, brother. Don't do it. I'm not trying to get you fired off your job, but you
I
got to
mean,
take you get in the
there
closet.
there there's a huge straight culture here, but there is a very large, let's say, it might not be gay in the sense that America, the West,
So what you're saying is
England, and
don't proselytize your gayness, is what you're saying.
I think that the overall consensus of the GCC is we don't need to voyeurize our gayness. And I think that that's the difference. The West wants to, they want to have it on media. They want to make TV
Proselytize.
shows out of it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. What other way can you say it?
Okay.
Whereas,
And I
and they
get
don't feel
that.
like they have to do that here.
Damn.
Uh oh, you froze.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm freezing up. Damn. I guess because I
You
said
were okay.
gay too many
See,
times.
see.
I say gay too
Stop
many.
saying that.
All right.
Gay,
Okay.
gay, 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 gay.
Gay, 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 gay. Okay. Maybe goddamn Trevor. Eric is
But I think that's the difference that I found when I'm in other parts of the world. They have a completely different like ideology of the way that they need to display what we consider gayness in the West. They don't need to display it in no parts of their lives. Now, it doesn't matter if it's
so
gay or not.
I can make the same argument and say that about religion.
Okay. So it could be the same. So I think that,
Same,
like,
same. The way people
okay,
promote their gayness, people here promote their religion too. It's called proselytizing.
and it's the same. Okay, so let's say that they're much more open here to proselytizing their religion than they are at their gayness.
So is
And
there type of biasness there?
a biasness, I don't know if I would say it's about biasness. It's about culture. So culturally, um like, it is culturally acceptable to proselytize and to exonerate in every way possible your religion here. It's not necessary to proselytize or exonerate your gayness here, or even consider it gay.
Okay, let me give you an example. Here in the U.S., we have shout out to ISUPK. A lot of Hebrew Israelites stand on the corner and they will say, "Yeah, we're going to enslave the white people. We're going to kill the gays." And so they're prophetizing their religion according to the Bible. We're going to stone people and we're going to do this and do that. And Yah says, what does it say in First Timothy? And the Lord says, we shall kill everybody who's not a Hebrew Israelite. That's prophetizing. So
I
would
mean,
you
that's
apply it
straight
to
hate.
no, but
Yeah,
it's in the
proselytizing
Bible.
straight.
It's
No,
in
I
the
mean, it's
Bible.
yeah, it's in the Bible. It's in their belief system. I get
Okay.
it. It's in the culture.
Okay.
But like, do other religions and cultures need to one, attack other people and threaten their livelihood, no, and
Right.
their aliveness, no.
That's
Um,
why I said, "Thus saith the Lord." Thus saith the Lord. They will bring it out and say, "Well, no, I didn't say this. This said in the
no.
Bible." Thus saith the
Now let's be
Lord.
clear.
Look at-
Fanaticism, extremism is everywhere on the planet.
That's what
And
we're.
is it beneficial to anybody? I haven't seen where it's beneficial yet.
Okay, but
Um, yeah.
hear your
So
argument.
so going back to what we're saying, okay, they might have their theological views as a culture, but it doesn't mean that they are going to do what the Hebrew Israelites are doing, where they're going to stand on corners and saying, we're going to murder you guys. um it there is a difference where people are saying we have our private lives and
Right.
we don't need to go on social media and proselytize our private lives. um we can stand with our political religious views that are acceptable and that we feel are acceptable. We can be modest in our conversations with people globally. When we are
You might you're
opposing
taking away.
Israel and their behavior towards our Muslim brothers in Palestine, we don't have to say we hate you. We can just say no, thank you. I'm not going to interview with you. They can be very polite. But I think that's very different from U.S. because under the guise of freedom of speech, then you have people standing on corners saying, we're going to murder you. We're going to kill you for having a different view than we have.
According
We
to the
are
word of
going
God.
to, according to, and that's everywhere. That's all over the world, right? People are so fanatical and so they base their core beliefs so deeply, and instead of like improving themselves, they just bury themselves in core beliefs that are probably very far from who they are as human beings anyways. That they just stand on these core beliefs and will challenge you if you excite any emotion that challenges those core beliefs in any way. That's not religion. That's just a insecure person who has no basis in themselves and have no idea who they are and can't navigate their own lives, in my opinion. uh so I'm just saying that, like, as a culture, and I'm not a Qatari, I'm not speaking for Qatari people, but just from what I view, the modesty in voyeurism, they don't need to be voyeuristic people. They don't need to be Kardashians out there showing every, egg on their breakfast plate. They don't need to have every selfie out there exposed to every person on the planet. They're much more modest. And so, what their private lives are stays very private. You don't see the faces of a lot of Qatari people on social media. You don't see their faces. And that really shows you the difference in American view to the view that we believe is normal in Western culture. We're always putting ourselves out there. Look at us now. We're putting ourselves out there, as shamelessly. Am I afraid of what somebody's gonna say? Oh, Nature Mom, I saw you on the show. Yeah, you did. And you did. And you heard everything I said, and you heard my opinions about that subject. Because we are taught, it's our culture and our teaching to speak out about our belief systems, and we think that that's freedom of speech. They think that it's freedom of speech to be silent. They think that it's freedom of speech to have their traditional, Sharia Islamic views, and yet have their private lives also, which might not be in accordance with their views, culturally, religiously, or familiarly. So, I mean, I think that that's something that we don't consider in the West. We're true to who we are because we are, even though we're all not true to who we are, and yet they feel like having discretion in these areas is virtuous. And I kind of agree with that in some ways because I don't need to see what you're eating for breakfast every day. I don't want to show you what I'm eating for breakfast every day. you
Right.
know, do you really want to see it? I'll show you what I ate for breakfast. You want to see where it came out to? Probably not. So we could keep some things private, right? And I kind of agree in that view where like some things are more let's say romantic and mysterious when they're kept private.
Right.
And that is built into the culture here that I see. They have a lot more finesse and romance in the way that they approach relationships in the world, because it's not from a voyeuristic point of view the way that we are from the West. And their religious views might not be exactly as you think they are, because they are not the few fanatical who go out there and spew their views all over social media or in the media in general. They keep their views very close to their heart and private and close to their families.
Oh, did you say private?
Yes.
Interesting. Because I was trying to. Me and Yanga, we were having some. Yang and I were having some issues with some other people, or with a person. I'll just say it about Lace Vortex, and we were trying to say that and Blue, but we cool Blue, but you know, Malcolm X said, the religion in your pocket, meaning private, proselytize. Oh, you can hear me?
Could you say that last line again? Sorry.
Okay, so
Sorry.
brother Malcolm X, he said, keep your religion in your pocket, meaning keep it private, don't proselytize.
Yes.
Follow me so far?
Yes.
Black people that I've come across on YouTube get up in arms like, no, my religion is not something you put in a wallet. And I'm like, how they miss that? How are they missing that? Like, I don't, but I'm glad you said that. Empress, what's going on? Can you talk? I think she's still having issues. I think I'm having,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Our connection.
oh, Eric, he says many people that the U.S. was founded on the principle of God, but in God we trust model wasn't even put in the coins until 1950s. Facts.
Mm. And really, in God we trust was more based on in God we trust because we don't trust in our own actions against other human beings. And so that part has not been uncovered so clearly. When you're oppressing other human beings, of course you got to trust in God that you're doing the right thing because you don't trust yourself. So I very strongly stand and have been looking into that path. So there was another comment here.
Gynocracy said, I want to be messy because why we all hiding?
What are we hiding?
I don't know.
What are we
Oh,
hiding?
I think she was talking about religion, I guess. I don't know. Well, no, hold on. I mean, you know what? Because I said I'm a millennial. I don't want to be private. Oh, okay.
I mean, I think it's a connection issue.
Empress.
Yeah. So you're a millennium. Yeah.
Oh, am I breaking up? Oh, I think I'm
No, no,
breaking.
no. I think we keep losing Empress. It's the
Yeah.
connection's not happening tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Interesting that you said I'm a. You don't want to be private. I mean, but you are being private because one, I'm looking at your picture and I don't see your face.
No.
And
Okay. Can I explain that? Because yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
support. I
okay.
support.
I don't know what that
Well,
means when you say I don't want to be
that means
private. What do you
okay.
mean?
Explain that. That means she's anti-doxing.
That's
That's why
okay.
she wears a ski mask. There's a
I don't
whole
even know what that means.
Anti what?
I don't want to be
doxing.
private.
Doxing.
What do you mean?
Explain that. That means doxing meaning people get on here and remember that person, Machizo, wanted to know your information. So people put people's personal information out there. They put their real name out there. That's doxing. So she does that. Say, she's anti-doxing. So that's a
Uh,
whole. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm not aware of that. And so,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
It's another genre. She said already. You said you're millennial, and I'm sorry, I didn't know you were. By the picture is so small, I couldn't tell if you're male or female. So,
It's
or
female,
if you were
female. Yes, female.
claiming, uh, you know, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's claim out there. I still claim um, biology as a he, and biology as she, a she. So it's not a disrespect. It's just what it seems like. Um, but anyways, long story short, yeah, I think that like
Oh, that's the
modesty.
problem, Empress. You need a hardwire. That's the problem. Wi-Fi. Show your cord there, Nate Mom.
Ah, if I have record.
Yeah. We're no Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi. That's the problem. Okay. Oh,
Okay.
Eric took a break from work. Oh, thank you, Eric.
No, no,
Eric.
no. Peace,
Hi
peace.
Okay.
there.
Oh, he's about to come
Actually,
in. Hold on.
no, actually, I'm
Give
off
him a
work.
minute. He's at work.
No,
Damn,
I'm off.
everybody was on their Wi-Fi today. People. Okay, Eric. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I hear him.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm off work. I'm
Okay.
all good.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I was just icing my ankle from work this past week.
Oh, oh
But
gosh. Are you a sports player?
I mean, I played sports, yeah, back in my day. But no, I'm just I work in hazmat, so I just been working the
Oh,
last 22 years. So,
mm,
but yeah, no, that was just my only concern when I hear a lot of people come online and they make basically from a religious aspect, a lot of people they have this like expat movement. Well, not so much expat, but a lot of different cults. They will move and say, "Well, we got to go to Africa, we got to go here, we got to go there." So much better. But then once I start, then they will put out there a caveat like, "How would you know unless you've been there?" But I mean, you don't necessarily have to go somewhere or speak on a certain topic to have some generalized understanding. You know what I'm saying? So they would put that out there, and I'm like, well, you got to be careful because I've also heard a lot of horror stories as well. Being in other nations. So I think it needs to be a delicate balance. But this is a great stream. I'm really enjoying it.
mhm. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. I mean, I think that like one of the misnomers is like you said, the things our grandparents always put out there to us. Grass is always greener. And to be honest, I mean, you go to Africa, you're still a cotton picker if you're a Black American, And I know it's a funny term, and I've said this to a lot of my friends who are African. They're like, "Yeah, cotton picker," and it's a funny
Dang.
thing. And I'm like, "Yeah, I know what you think about us," you know. Um, you know, you're not in just because you move into somewhere else, but you can always believe in yourself everywhere you go, and you can always stand for your principles and who you are everywhere you go, and you can also be clear that where you're from is not where you're going. And I think that that makes the biggest difference. I think we lost Eric.
No,
uh
no, no, no.
yeah.
I'm still
Okay,
here.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
doing something
Yeah,
around the house. I'm doing something around
that's
the house. But yeah,
okay.
I'm
That's
listening.
okay.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So we can't expect the way what we're used to and who we are to be what everyone else should adhere to. And I think that that's like the main point of this conversation. Whether we're speaking about is being Islamic, coming into an Islamic country, going out of an Islamic country, coming out of an American country, going into an African country. We can never expect people to be what we want them to be. And that's the biggest point. And we can't expect that they're going to take us the way that we want them to take us. You know, um, I think that the thing that I've learned everywhere that I've moved is, I can stand my ground without arrogance, but sometimes I have to stand my ground firmly. And with that being said, uh, I haven't had issues like a lot of people have shared with me that they've had.
But
Go
Nation
ahead,
Mom,
Alexa.
let me say this. I would feel safer Eric do travels around the world than a Brittany Grinder doing the travels around the world. I don't know if you feel like what I'm saying. Eric has a more
Ah,
on guard. He's more aware and he's more cautious as
yeah.
opposed to Brittany Griner. Like, oh, I'm a basketball player. Oh, wait, I'm Brittany Griner. What do you? It's that's just CBD oil. What's the big
I mean,
deal?
let's be honest. In the case of Brittany Griner, when you are, let's say, a valued citizen, global citizen, you're expected to keep your valued global citizen status. And in the case of this pre-war condition, she lost her value, and she didn't expect that. And they used it as, uh, what's the word? Oh, I can't. I'm losing English right now because it's so late. But they use it as a collateral, against the U.S. in this situation, and it won. You know,
Right. But what I'm saying is that even though, like, let's just take, and I don't even know Eric, I think because as black men, it's just certain things that, like, okay, if Russia's at war, don't correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. Let's say you just travel back and forth with CBD oil. We at war now. We in war mode. You're going to be more cautious traveling.
but
Right.
remember,
Right.
she traveled at the very beginning of the war, so I'm not even sure that she was sure that war was going to actually break out. It was only speculation at that point.
No, Nation Mom, I believe the invasion already started when by the time
It when Brittany crossed over, it was
right,
about the time the beginning. So I remember when the first conflict of the Ukraine broke out against itself, which is still related to the story, but it was a civil war at that point.
right,
And it wasn't until it was only speculation. And I was about to cross the border with my family just for sightseeing. And if it wasn't for a haphazard, check in with the American consulate where I was, where I just needed to take care of some baby documents, nothing related to traveling, particularly there. The consular who knew us at that point, because she watched my kids grow up, was like, don't go there right now. So it was between people that she stopped me from going on that trip. When only months later I heard of some of the most horrific acts from human to human in this century. I'm not talking about Hitler, I'm talking about like
right.
this century. From human to human, that happened right there on Ukrainian soil. And we were about to go for, like, a weekend vacation holiday there. So it was relations that stopped us from going on that trip. And let me be clear, that situation that was back in 2013 has escalated to what's happening right now.
Absolutely.
So just imagine for Brittany Griner, you don't get much information from US. She went there for employment,
Right.
because the WNBA was not paying what they should be paying in the US, and she had to go and be gainfully employed there. So, yeah, I think that she felt that she would be safe in that situation without proper advisory. My advisory just came from a very compassionate person, and it wasn't her job to tell us that extra information. So it's really, that's kind of back to the point that we were making earlier. When you go with a certain attitude, people respond and they give you, let's say, uh, the courtesies back that you give. When you show kindness, they like to show you kindness back. And we could have very freely have gone on that little vacation, end up in who knows what kind of situation. But she liked us as a family, and she warned us against that trip. And thank goodness she did.
Okay. I mean, you know, again, man.
Can I interject real
Yeah,
quick?
please, please, Eric, please.
Please.
Yeah, yeah, it's just It's like when I tell my kids, my son is 25, my daughter is 20. It's just within the United States, when you go into certain neighborhoods or when you go into certain areas, you give them advice. Me being a parent, I'm always telling them, hey, you don't have to walk in fear, but you always need to be alert and aware. And I watch a lot of global news, so a lot of times I be tuned into different, situations just going on across the, different continents, and it's like you had brought up the consulate. Usually they give you a travel advisory when you go into certain nations. So you should
Yeah.
already have some type of, wherewithal before you
Are
go
they
there.
on the red, yellow, or
Yeah,
yeah, what category are they in? They don't give you personal
right.
advice. Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to, traveling or anything like that. It's just, for me, I just be very cautious. You know what I mean? So that's just me. I don't have nothing against because I like watching. I think the brother, I forgot the brother's name, but he has a channel, Minority Nomad and Passport Heavy. It's another sister, Mary Jane. They travel all over the world. I enjoy them, and I'm not opposed to it, but I just think about when I talk to my kids, when they go out. So that's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
I'm
think
glad
that's a
Eric
great
used that
point.
analogy because, yeah, like you said, even just here in the US, going through certain hoods. So it can be a plus. Like I said, you might go through Harlem or the Bronx or South Central LA, West Side, certain parts of SWATs in Atlanta. And with that, for some parts of Chicago, when you got that, certain parts of Dallas, Beaumont, I got to represent all these, Louisiana, New Orleans, South Carolina. What I'm saying is that that can be a plus here in the U.S. because we pay attention to how people move here in the U.S. in the hood. That could be a plus going around the world. So yeah, man, I feel what Eric is saying about that. Don't be so uptight, but be cautious. That you got to be cautious here in the hood. Nature Mom, growing up in South Central LA, West Side. You
Oh
have to be
yeah.
cautious.
Oh
We
yeah.
lived on the border of the jungle in
We were in
Crenshaw.
the jungle.
We're
Actually,
in the
we were in the
jungle,
jungle.
right on the border of Crenshaw, of rolling
Yeah,
40s
yeah.
and rolling 60s and all
You
that.
know,
With the,
shoot,
so I mean,
54th Rampart
West
and
Side,
Training Day was our story. Yeah.
right,
No, for
right.
real. I mean,
With the
I'll tell
Philly
you, like, honestly, my first trip when I first got to Poland, I started to travel with some friends, and they didn't speak English. I didn't speak Polish.
right,
But we already figured out our communication with each other, as we did. And they took me to their hometowns, very rural, areas compared to what we understand as the US. I mean, let's say even if I want to compare it to some areas in Georgia or particularly Louisiana that were like woods and then a town in the middle of the woods. I've been to many places like this in Poland. And so we went to one of the biggest areas, and I'm sitting outside in one of the only mega markets, and two guys run in the door and they're punching each other, and some girl runs in the middle, and she's getting punched by both of them trying to block them from punching each other.
right.
And I'm hanging out because my friends went to shop because I don't speak the language, and I stayed with the kids at the electronic machines and the horses and stuff. And when the guys ran in and started punching each other, somehow my arms just reach out long enough to grab all the kids, and then we left.
Okay,
And my friend calls me, 10 minutes later, and in Polish, she's saying, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm trying to tell her in English, I'm across the street." And she's like, "Why are you there?" And I said, "Because some guys ran into the store punching each other." And she was like, "But why did you leave the store?" Because for them, that's like every day. Okay, some guys, drunk or not, they ran and they're punching each other. It's normal life there. For me, being from South Central, if two guys start punching each other, I'm grabbing all the kids and I'm moving somewhere else. And so she was like, "Why are you there?" And I was like, "Because they're punching each other. I don't need to see the outcome. I don't need to get shot to see the outcome, and neither do the kids. We're here. Come meet us here." So,
right.
it's like we do have our conditioning. where we're from, I was very conditioned. I now, okay, after 10 years of this, two guys start punching on a train or a tramway, tram in US, I'm like, okay, just move over, you kind of push him out of your way. But in the beginning, I was off the train, I wasn't going to wait till it was over, because where we're from, the conditioning is somebody might pull a weapon, and you can be seriously injured, or dead by the end of that. So, I've really had to adjust my understanding, living in other places. Now, you could be dead in different ways. In Europe, in here in the Middle East, you could be dead in very different ways. But in the beginning, that was the conditioning I came from. If two people start punching each other, you're going to disappear immediately. And my point is kind of going back to the voyeurism and exploiting our lifestyles and putting it out there for the world to see. I think there's a lot of criticism of Muslim cultures that they don't exploit their attitudes towards gay life and towards many different acceptances. I'm not going to call it queer, and I don't know what to call it, because here they think very differently about it. They don't think that it's queer. They don't think that it's LBGQ. Some people think they're lesbian. Some people think they're gay. Some people think it's normal. And so I don't put any judgment on it whatsoever, because I've always felt, whether I'm in US or here or in Europe, it's not my business. I don't really care, and I don't want to know. I don't go into businesses asking people what their sexual preferences are.
Right.
Um, that's your private business. I think you should keep it private. I've been married, for more than 12 years now. I'm not going to share with people what's happening in my bedroom. That's my private information. So for me to expect people to expose their private information seems completely ludicrous and asinine to me. To for that to be like social media or something that is voyeurized in any way seems a little bit asocial and strange. So I don't even participate in it. Um, like kids with bad behaviors, I ignore bad behavior. I just focus
Right.
on the positive and what you can accomplish, and I move on in that way. So for someone to like put that on a whole culture and a whole nation of people, because they're expected to perform a certain way based on religion, I think it's a little it's intrusive, and it's not my place to be intrusive. It's more my place to gain knowledge and to contribute to our society in the best way I can in this little bit of time that I'm given, um, to contribute, not to take away. So I just think it's a ridiculous conversation, on any forefront. And I respect, let's say, non-fanatical religious people who do keep their privacy private, who keep their religious private, who keep their sexual lives private. I do think it's a sacred ground. If any, I agree with a lot of sociologists who talk about, sacredism. I do think that those areas of our lives, whether you're religious or not, are sacred. My happenings in my marriage are sacred. I'm not going to share it with the world. And I think that that's just respectful to me and my husband and my children. So, um, the way that the world and media tries to sensationalize and force people to put their private lives on display, I think is extreme. And as extreme as fanatical extremism is as extreme as religious extremism. I think that it's just inappropriate behavior socially, we have to work together here. I'm Rodney King all the way. Can't we all just get along? And can't we just like get along with business here? Because we have to like make this work. Either it's gonna work, or it's not. So we can work on making it work, or we can work on making it not work. I'd rather work on making it work. And I think that advancing human knowledge, science, behavior, appropriateness, all works towards making this work for each other. If we only turn inward, and believe me, I've a child. One of my children, she has a lot of issues with seeing the world from an outward point of view. She only sees that everything is only related to her. And as my grandmother used to say to me as a kid, the universe doesn't revolve around you. So I believe that the world doesn't just revolve around us. Our existence is so brief in the expansion of this universe, that the least that we can do is contribute some knowledge to pass on, and be a part of our lineage. So our legacy.
Okay. Well, shoot. Man, I got to give you your own show, Eric. I don't know how much time you got, brother.
Oh man, I'm just a guest. I'm just enjoying the knowledge. I come from that real religious mindset, and getting into all the debates, it gets exhausting. So I'm on a global worldview, more of a humanistic path now. So
Right.
this is very refreshing for me to listen to.
It's refreshing for me to hear you say that, brother, because this is the direction I want. Well, for me personally, you know what I'm saying. I mean, we have, as you know, Eric, we have a variety of shows on the arena. But when Black Sun comes on, or when he comes on with Nature Mom, or when Trevor comes on, or even when MD comes on, we're gonna discuss politics, reparations. We're gonna discuss things from a global standpoint. I mean, Nature Mom has no choice. She's in a whole nother country. So yeah, man, Eric, I appreciate that, brother.
Oh
Man,
yeah, that's what I've been looking at more and more channels to kind of get out the mindset, us versus them, the tribalism and this and that. It's 8 billion people on the planet, so
Mm.
that's why with my worldview at one point in time, me and my buddy, we talk about it now at the gig. We talk about, man, it's the world coming to an end. I say, yeah, that's through your viewpoint and how much news you consume here in the West.
right.
If you consume if you watch
True.
Chicago, Detroit, New York, this is here in the West.
Yeah.
Or earthquakes or some natural disasters happen. I was telling you, do you realize earthquakes happen
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
day? Don't
Yeah.
you?
West Nile virus. I remember when I
Yeah.
I left US and I saw mosquitoes. I'm like, West Nile virus. They were like, what are you talking about? I was like, mosquitoes. They're like, no. you know,
Hey, but look, I
it's
gotta go.
interesting.
I gotta
Yeah,
jump down. I gotta take care of some
me
business, but
too.
definitely
Yeah.
appreciate it, and I keep tuning in.
Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
Eric, I'm serious about that show, man. I'm serious about the slot, bro. So
I, I really don't, I do it on I really don't want to put myself out there like that, even though I have
okay,
now.
that's cool. I mean, okay, that's
Yeah,
cool. Well, just
He
please,
got me the same way.
yeah.
He got me the same way.
no, it's all good. Salute to
Yeah,
y'all.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All
Great
right,
conversation. So I have to end it there too, Black Sun.
Okay,
I have to just
okay,
say I appreciate this conversation so much because I don't stand against or defend anyone. I just think that we're all just people.
okay.
And I just love this conversation because every time I'm with you and Empress and
Straight Trevor,
Trevor
MD,
and
Deacon,
Twin and Deacon. Yeah, I just feel
DB.
like 100% this is about understanding how we're all making it through this existence together. And it's true, especially as more of us from the US, we're spreading out, and we're all over the globe now. And it's really interesting, because I am, even over here, I'm meeting, people from Alabama, I'm meeting people from, I mean, places that we could relate to inside of the US, but it's such a different viewpoint when you hear their perspective when they're away from US. Wow, it's just like gosh, yeah, I didn't think about life that way. Or um, I agree with you in so many ways because I think that in the U.S. we're all expected to behave or to be this particular way, and let's say it's probably the same for a lot of people over here. They come here and they're expected to be a way um, that we're not even like sure of, or we've never been privy to, and we're just coming here and being ourselves. And I think for them it's so refreshing. That's why they like us. They like to be around us. They like to talk to us because we don't have these closed viewpoints. We can have conversations that are open and have this nice ebb and flow that they can appreciate.
Before you go, Nature Mom, I want to introduce you to Solar. He's
Solar.
yeah, Solar. He's a remember I told you about the debate league?
Yeah, I do remember a little bit.
Okay, so in fact, I got a debate this Saturday with Rio, one of the top guys. He's one of the top guys, and he's here from Atlanta. So you might want to tune into that one. Solar was good. Was
Okay.
good.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey man, you doing good, bro?
All right, all right. What's today's mathematics?
So we were trying to figure out this whole the mathematics of the spy balloon, and it wasn't adding up. So
No,
Uh,
it wasn't adding
we
up.
kind of left that one early.
Yeah, it wasn't adding up, brother.
so what was the story? China had
So
a spider balloon.
yeah, the spy balloon. Yeah, you know how fast it
From
traveled.
China.
Yeah, from China and
from
how
from China to what?
Montana to South Carolina.
Montana.
Right.
I was gonna say Missouri, but okay, Montana.
Well, they
Yeah,
did an experiment.
Well, they're saying it was a weather balloon from China, but China, I don't know if China's denying it.
that's a
I haven't.
long ways to go
It's long, yeah,
to
it's
get. Yeah, in a couple of days without anybody noticing.
Uh,
basically I'm smelling false flag, Solar.
so give me the details of the story because I'm here. What's going on, Trevor? I'm here. Spy balloon travel from Montana. Was it an independent um type of research thing, or was it some type of military thing that it was being done, or y'all don't know? So
I just got the news today,
so what?
all the way in Qatar. I mean, to be honest with you, with the economic tragedy that's been happening in China since November of 2022, I'm not even sure they could afford to send a spy balloon all the way from China to Montana in a few days to surveillance the U.S. in this
Oh,
situation,
okay,
especially when they're looking for economic support from the U.S.
right.
To cover their real estate failures that have happened in the last half of 2022. So that's a difficult one to believe that they've got that much money left over for spying when they have their own people, storming their banks and having to claim another lockdown just to hold them into their homes by military force under the guise of COVID-19.
Oh,
That's right there
okay.
in the martial law right now too.
So
They're,
yeah.
they're under martial law right now.
That's very interesting. Because I know with in America they kind of use media and propaganda for strategical purposes, and I know it's kind of a different story once you take away certain rights and privileges that we entertain over here in the West. You know, that's probably permanent over there. They could actually
Oh, there
lock
are no
things
rights
down.
and privileges over there.
Yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
that's the Chinese Republic, public. Wait,
The
Chinese
Republic is
People's Republic. Yeah,
yeah.
nah, no, the
Yeah,
CPP.
I was
There's
looking at a documentary where it was talking about how heavily China is surveillance and how they, they have, using the technology, that they are able to, um, if you're jaywalking, they could actually get your, information from the camera. They were showing like the camera, and if it zoom in on somebody's face, all of their information will come up.
oh, it's
And
the same here in the Middle
yeah,
East. They
In
can do the
England,
same.
yeah, England too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and actually in US, only difference in the US is that we have laws that does not make all of that surveillance permissible in court
right.
because you can fight against it. So it's available to them, but they can't use it the same way logistically.
I think that's going to be the future of the world eventually. the heavily surveillance. And but I found that to be interesting, and how accustomed they was to it, without I don't know if it was that much pushback from the people, but then there's a whole different culture over there that
I mean, considering that since the turn of the century, it's been this way. So, considering that at the turn of the century, they were facing extreme famine,
mm,
where if I'm not mistaken, 70% of the population was starving. So when you're starving to that degree, you're willing to do anything if the government can give you a grain, or two of rice, and that's been going on since, like I said, the turn of the century. So, that's where they were able to use the whole market, where the, bat COVID-19 virus came from, because, that's why people eat bats over there. Imagine, those comedians weren't making jokes when they were saying, some Chinese guy was like, ah, bah, bah, and then like eating a bat. They're eating all types of animals over there because they came from extreme starvation,
yeah.
or their country left them to die.
So
Um,
do you believe in the official story of the COVID? That's how it started from, like,
I mean, when you say, do I believe in which official story?
well, the one that was suggesting that it came from
The West.
transferred in the animal.
No, I believe more the amateur journalists, especially the ones who died under their investigations during
Hmm.
COVID-19, the ones who stood against the militia there and died from COVID-19 in the early stages
Right.
of this world pandemic, and left footage behind that were like challenging the police to come after them because they knew that they were already closing in on them. I believe those stories more. um but and you know they kind of support my belief for those stories even deeper when there's an economic crisis happening right now, and then they use the guise of COVID-19 again, to shut down huge cities. I mean, it's like the equivalent to shutting down New York or LA, because people want their money out of the banks. No, it's really hard for me to support that some bat is behind all that. Um, but I do know how the old adage, if you control the seed, you control the people. If you control the money, you control the mindset. So
Oh,
I
did you ever see I'm sorry, what you was finishing?
no, go ahead.
Um, did you ever see, like, the beginning videos? I'm pretty sure you're aware of the beginning videos that were surfacing. Um, when it was talking about the COVID virus in China, you had like people just passing out, like they just standing around and they'll just pass out of nowhere. Did you ever see
uh
those videos?
I was following some amateur journalists. So one guy was a lawyer, but he was an amateur journalist. He died from COVID
Hmm.
apparently. But I was following him from late 2019 until mid 2020, when his body was claimed as dead from the COVID virus.
Hmm.
There were about four journalists very similar to him, including one of the scientists from Ground Zero Lab.
Hmm.
So I was following a lot of those people early on. It's strangely enough, a lot of those stories came from me following the Ghislaine Maxwell and
Yep, Steve.
Epstein stories, and it led into this. Um, and somehow, yeah, this is how I came across uh their video logs.
I,
And so I've been following this for a long time, and actually had to stop following it because it was just way too overwhelming at some points.
yeah,
Yeah.
I recall a few years back that I think it was a guy recording himself. He was in a hospital, right? So is that
Yes.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
I
was
remember
probably the
that. Yeah,
scientist.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he had
Yeah.
COVID, and he was saying, yeah.
And he was probably and I have his name somewhere because when I was in this country before, I was keeping a log of all of these. And yeah, it was very disturbing because at that time, um, it was just after me getting very sick. Never have I been this sick before in my life. And every doctor at that time was claiming, nope, it can't be this COVID that everybody is suggesting, because it hasn't made it to this country yet. And when I just recently was declared with COVID-19, it was the same symptoms, but not as bad as it was in
Right.
in 2019. And I just remember going to every doctor, going, "I Are you sure it's not this? Because I've never felt like this before. My kids have never been sick like this before." And everybody was claiming, no, it can't be this, it's not in this country yet. And it was very similar to a lot of the things that I researched from, like you said, the scientist who was in the lab, and he was giving underground footage of what was happening in this Chinese hospital. I think I know which one you're talking about. And sharing that like doctors and patients were dropping like flies at that time.
Yeah, because that's the thing that I found to be interesting, because it was videos that was kind of surfacing in China where it'll be just a random person standing at a bus stop and they'll just pass out of nowhere. And I don't recall seeing that type of COVID in America, where it's just like people just passing out.
Oh gosh.
Usually it's like some type of flu-like symptoms that would be the beginning phases. So do you think that there was
um
something different than COVID
no, I mean,
in
because
China?
just recently I was diagnosed with COVID, and it hit me like a brick. I mean, I was like going to the bank to cash a check and riding up the escalator. I could tell you exactly, like, I went keel over, and I told my husband, "Oh my gosh, please, I got to go home now," cuz I didn't think I was going to make it to the top of the escalator. And this was after not only inoculation, but after already having COVID in the very beginning, so I should have some immunity to it. And it wasn't as extreme as the first time back in 2019 when I got it and my children got it, where we couldn't move at all. But it was bad enough where I could feel the difference from the bottom of the escalator to the top.
Yeah.
And I could just imagine if it was at that time. And I kept saying, this is how I felt in 2019. It's just not as bad. And I just kept telling my husband, it's just not that bad, but it feels, horrible, and it hit me that fast. So I can imagine that the full blunt, and what I'm studying right now about viruses and bacteria, and you know uh just how they operate and host on the body. I can imagine that it could be that fast. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I was kind of in America when they actually began to come over here in the states. I began to what do you think about that? Do you think that far as with I don't think we could talk about that though here.
Why
But
not? We're already talking about everything else.
uh,
We haven't been
well,
kicked out
yeah,
yet.
I'm talking about this YouTube period with the with the jab and all that. You know, yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so your question is,
Um, I'm looking at Trevor. You got to give me the okay, man. I don't want to. This your
Trevor Blackson.
I mean, wow, Black Sun. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I'm reading
I
the chat. I'm
know.
reading the chat at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's uncensored over here. So I usually have to ask you for permission to come on your platform and say certain things. So
Um,
yeah,
okay, so what's the question?
the authenticity of the shot.
Oh, that's already being disclosed. You can find, matter of fact, I can send you guys some information now. So Pfizer is already under scrutiny, and I hope will come under tribunal very soon, because they, one, did not even many of the inoculation pharmaceuticals were not even tested for transmission. So they knew from the beginning that they were not designed or even considered for stopping transmission. They just went in for for dollar. I mean, this is all I can see from the information that I'm getting right now.
Mm.
um will they have to pay the cost? Unfortunately, banks and pharmaceuticals, they get a huge let's say, I don't even know what the word is in English anymore. I'm still losing my English at this late hour. But they get a huge pass for not having to follow protocol to make sure that these inoculations are doing what they're supposed to do. Because what is
Right.
an inoculation, right? And not
Mhm.
if we're taking the smallpox or chickenpox vaccine, it's to help us to get
immune.
it to such a small degree or not at all, because we're building antibodies so that there won't be transmission. And basically, what's come out recently is that they never even tested these vaccines for lack of transmission. And so this is a huge issue, because so many billions of people have been inoculated. So many hundred thousands of people have lost their jobs because they refuse inoculation to find out that this doesn't even stop transmission. So that's a huge liability there. um,
Yeah.
and So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I do think that there's a huge cover up in um, whether or not these vaccines were supposed to do what they say they're supposed to do.
Right.
Yet we know that when we read the genetic and endocrine pathways, we know that they cause huge other issues, huge side effects. I've said it several times on the shows before. Just a few of those pathways that I've read through myself lead to SC1 diseases, which means, diseases that can cause Huntington's disease, Parkinson's disease. They cause all types of, addiction disorders. They cause all types of other disorders and endocrine blockers. And this is like, they had to go under lawsuit to release this information. And it's released and you can read it for yourself. So yeah, I think there's a
Interesting.
lot of issues there. Me personally, I had to take it because to move from one country to another to just be with my family, I had to take an inoculation just to get on a plane from one location to the next. And I had to postpone my flight several times just because of neurological disorders.
Pressures. That's how they get you when you're traveling
Uh,
from country. They're like, aha, you haven't got the shot, have
Yes.
you? Would you
And
like to stay
I
on this plane?
Exactly. And I
so
was
you,
examined by the top neurological specialist at the neurological ER in Poland. And with her limited English, the only thing she could say to me was szczepienia, which is inoculation, is not for you. That's all she can tell me because I had such adverse side effects from it.
did you get the you got multiple shots?
No, I just got the Johnson and Johnson.
Hmm.
Yes, which Johnson Johnson is presently being sued for having knowledge that their vaccination causes blindness, and they did not disclose that before putting it out in the market. But they knew that that's what it caused, you know. But after my experience, it doesn't just cause blindness. I've never had problems with headaches. I had multiple migraines that were debilitating. I couldn't move with small children. And it was just me and small children traveling. And sometimes the headaches were so bad I would pass out and wouldn't remember the night before because it was that extreme.
How long did it
And
last?
It lasted for over a month.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's not even talk about like, my periods and reproductive system and all the craziness. And I know many women can attest to that.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought it was
Luckily I'm beyond the age where I want to have more children, but for women who want to have children, I can't even tell you the stories that I'm hearing right now.
I thought it was a rule that once you get inoculated, you have to wait a certain time before you fly.
No. With that's why I took the Johnson and Johnson, because I could fly immediately. With the Pfizer and the Moderna, AstraZeneca, I would have to wait another month for the second shot. So I went for the one shot at one time because we were on a time constraint, a
Mm.
financial and time constraint. Yeah. So I went with the one shot. So only needed to wait 6 days to fly.
Oh, so you're not in the U.S. now.
No, I wasn't in the US when I took it as well.
Oh. Where you at now?
I'm in the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the Middle East is actually, and you can probably look this up on Jazeera.com. They were one of the first, a few American syndications as well, to uncover some investigations recently about the pharmaceutical companies not being upfront about the effectiveness of their inoculations. That just came out, I think, like a week and a half ago. I read. I could actually tell you right now. Just give me one
It's in the
moment.
Middle East. Don't they have the lowest cases of COVID? Is it?
No,
What?
not per capita. No.
Okay.
No, only because it's, let's say, per number. So there's many more people in the United States than Middle East. So let's say the most cases in the world were India, because the most people in the world are in India.
Right.
So the second biggest cases in the world was U.S. because it was Brazil, U.S., and India that had the largest numbers, and they have the largest populations of people. Uh, Besides, what other country? I know this. I was just talking about it. Hmm. I'm sorry, it's too late. I can't think of it at this moment. But let me just get you that information real quick about this. Oh, wait, if I can remember how to make this work. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. Here we go. Blackson, maybe I could send it to you and you can repost this to people somehow.
Okay.
Can I send it to you on Instagram?
Um. Yeah. Or you could can you do a copy and paste, or is that's your phone, right?
Maybe it can copy and paste. I'm
Okay.
thinking it can. Usually they should be able to. Let's see. Here we go. Here, Al Jazeera. So let me see if I can copy it.
Okay.
Uh, I don't really know how to copy it from. I don't go on Instagram often. Honest disclaimer. Sorry, guys. So I don't know how to copy it to you. I only know how to forward it to you.
Okay.
And do I even know how to forward it to you? Uh, I might have to do it. Okay. I figured this out. Yeah, I only know one way, and that's just to forward it to you. Can I just send? Oh, wait, no, copy link. Oh, I just found it. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm sending it to you now.
You sent
And
to
if you could
my
post this,
computer.
yeah. Can
All
you
right.
see it? And if you could post that, yeah.
You
This
got
is
to
from
post in
Al
the chat.
Jazeera.
Can you post in the chat,
And
or
I don't really know how to post it to the chat, to be honest with you.
can you go
So
to the chat?
I posted it to our chat. Can you
Um.
see it?
No.
What you said?
No,
You talking about the private chat or the
A private chat, our DM.
Oh, she's talking about on Instagram.
Instagram. Oh, okay.
No, 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 no. On
I'm on my phone.
Facebook.
On
Oh,
Facebook. Okay. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Oh, because you don't have that on your computer.
Yeah, no, no. I'm nowhere near my phone right now.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Uh,
Let me see if I can send it to you via email.
okay.
Yeah. Uh,
and what was it again? What's
let's
it?
see.
What is it? An
This
article?
is a article from Al Jazeera. So
What's
now Al
what's the title?
Jazeera is no longer under FIFA, so they can pretty much say what they want now that FIFA's over. And one of the first 2023 post was good question. It's actually in Arabic, and I don't read Arabic. But basically, it is one of the officials, and they are one of the journalists are asking one of the heads about their knowledge, whether or not they knew that, or whether they were keeping secret that the inoculation of COVID-19 was not
No, you're
for
saying like FIFA, like
stopping
the
transmission.
FIFA, like the World Cup.
Yes, yes. So we just have FIFA here. Yes. And there were, of course, a lot of restrictions because, nothing could stop FIFA, right? So they were making sure that everything was in place regarding FIFA. Okay. Here's the article right here. Let me see, Blackson, if there's some way besides. Would it be better to send it to through Instagram and you could post it?
No, I'm on it.
Okay. What else? What else can I do?
Um,
Um.
mm,
mm,
Could you put it in the private chat?
yeah, can you put
can
the
you?
private chat?
Uh. Okay, I'm not sure how to get it from my phone to this format. You won't believe that I've actually taken like computer science at one point. Um, let me think of how I can do this. Uh,
Okay, so
if
you
this
could
doesn't work.
probably email it to yourself,
Okay.
and then
So,
just copy and paste the link from your computer when you
so if
check
I
out.
can share to oh wait, but that will do the okay. So if I could share to my email, you said.
Yeah, yeah, just
Okay.
send it to yourself, and then I guess you
Mm-hmm.
could get to your email from your computer, and then just copy and paste it onto the
Got
private
it.
chat.
Chat, yeah. Yeah, 'cause yeah.
Okay. Can I send it to you, Black Sun, via email? Because I don't know how to do private chat either. So let's just do Black Sun. There we go. Vaccine. There we go. Al Jazeera.
Okay. I'm checking it now.
Okay. So it's sent.
Okay, so my Gmail, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let me copy. Uh, I don't know what's up with this, Nisa.
Can you refresh?
I mean, no, no, no. It's giving me the same site, and it's not allowing me to. Okay, hold on. Let me try this. Copy, and then let me paste it to the thing. Boom. Okay, I think that'll work. Let's see. There it is. Okay, y'all. Boom.
There it is.
Got it.
Great.
Yeah.
There it is. Yes, that's the
Mhm.
one. I think one of the second biggest pieces of evidence since the last 3 years. A few things have come out since then, but that one has just blown me away because it really shows that they knew. Um, and our health was not at the top of their priority, like they kept saying.
Oh, this is a actual video.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was an article. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, let me see. Is it long?
No, it's very short, actually.
Okay.
But you can click on the link and even get further information going right to who. It should have a link that says visit World Health Organization.
So that has all the uh,
Remember, I
science.
was doing wait, because I'm listening to it a little bit. Remember, I was doing the videos when it was talking about this 90% effectiveness,
Mm.
and I
And
was
so
like,
that shows you right there. They
yeah,
knew that
and
it
I
wasn't
was
effective
telling
from the
y'all, see,
beginning.
I see, look, I was telling y'all from the beginning
No.
about this 90% effectiveness and how they were playing with the 90% effectiveness and
I
how it
mean,
begins to
there's
trickle
nothing in
down from
science
90%.
that's 90% effective. I
I
mean,
was telling y'all,
even the contraceptives are not 90% effective, right?
who was up there trying to
So
debate that? That was Cube trying to challenge what I was saying.
Well, not only that, Trevor was trying to challenge me on the percentage, and I was just like, no, no, no. He was trying to make me say 100%, and I'm like, Trevor, it's not 100%, but just for the sake of having a fun debate, I'll let you have that. But which uh, I have to get the title to you, Solar.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, he's
you
yeah.
guys, I have to call it an evening. I have some other things waiting for me tonight. It's so hard to part with you guys because really the conversation is always so riveting, and I feel like we can go on and on about this. I would love to continue this conversation, so
Yeah,
I'll
that'd
just
be
put it
great.
out there.
You have a
Yeah.
wealth of knowledge.
You know, I guess what my wealth really is right now is uh the ability to put my time into researching what I want to. And
Mm,
what I want to research is what my kids are going to inherit.
mm.
And unfortunately, what my kids are going to inherit right now is a whole lot of trouble, you know.
Yeah,
And how to prepare them for that trouble is my job next.
yeah, awesome, awesome. And that should be the responsibility of all humans, because that's we're kind of passing this planet on to another generation, and we have a responsibility to, put them in the best position to kind of further, the life on
Yeah.
this planet. So that would be the bigger goal for everyone. So you're definitely commended for that.
It's interesting because I'm actually writing some papers right now on, you know, um, uh, variability, especially genetic variability, and how it works in evolution, and what we are is a result of those variations that worked. What I have trouble with is human beings playing with that variation for their own economic gain. And I think that unfortunately, like, knowledge has advanced so much that that's what we are right now. We have people who are um, tampering with genetic variability. And should we allow that to be? Because then we get to select who thrives and who doesn't, where nature was the selector in the past. And as we can see, um, there's been a target of certain people thriving, economically, certain type of people under thriving, you know um genetically, economically.
Right.
And I think that unfortunately COVID plays very much into this scheme. And I think we're at the point where we can level the playing field. um but there's certain groups that don't want to level this playing field.
Right.
I always say play fair, best team wins.
Right, right. Yeah, that and yeah, that's a very good point that you made. In terms of like the genetics and how things begin to get more sophisticated over time, but it's kind of like the same thing that's being played out, but they're now having a better understanding scientifically to get to their goals. I guess of what they consider to be human superiority. So it's like now is down to a science and an understanding and dealing with their research, which is almost like it's fascinating on the one hand that they could get to this level, but at the same time scary because of what they can do if this this intelligence is mishandled. It's no different than like the technology. Us going into the nuclear age. It's a lot of benefits from it, but if it gets in the
Huge
wrong hands, then
benefits.
you have um,
Yeah,
um,
catastrophe. Yeah.
catastrophic. So yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I think that one of the questions that always comes to my mind at this point is, if you felt so confident in the superiority that you've claimed for all these generations, why are you working so hard to undermine a particular group of people globally? And maybe it's because you don't truly believe that you have the genetic superiority that you keep claiming. Maybe this group keeps showing the genetic variation that keeps thriving over the variations that your inbred cultures are not showing. And
Oh, kind of like the
so,
obsession Hitler had with Jesse Owens.
Yeah, or like you were saying, like with Charles Darwin, how they initially thought it was through inbreeding that they could actually manufacture this superior race. But I think one thing that they understood once they began to once things began to backfire from what they first assumed is that they was willing to see that was an error. They just don't want to let everybody know that. You
yeah,
know.
and I don't necessarily agree at this point, especially studying like biology to this point, that that's what Darwin really believed. I've been reading. I'll tell you exactly what I'm reading right now. It's called uh, the Origin of Species
Hmm.
by Darwin. And that's not what he's saying in any of these readings at all. Now it's very verbose script here. I've only made it through the first chapter. This is on top of other biological research and reading that I've been doing. And the first chapter is more than, I mean, I can't even tell you how many pages. um Actually, I'll tell you right now. The first chapter alone on the origin of species is here we go. Oh wait, 130 pages. Okay, so that's actually made it to, and really, I mean, it's dense reading.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So the first chapter is at 44 pages just online. So imagine what it is in an actual book. Um, and I don't see any of the information that he believes that inbreeding is helpful in any way. So it's actually mostly on so far on variation under nature. That nature has this ability to only choose the phenotypes, so basically the alleles, the chromosomes from mother and father that are going to fit the present environment, and that's what's going to survive and produce the most in the next generation. So it's really interesting because there's a lot of I don't know what the word is, but there's a lot of like rumor of what Darwin's theories are, especially based on a very like Hitler-esque, white supremacist point of view. But when you read it yourself, yeah, I think that you'll find that there's some differences, from that point of view that we're like fed ourselves. So I can also, if you like, Blackson, I'm gonna send you this, and you can post it. I think it's interesting reading.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
Again, this is Charles Darwin's The Origin of Species. So this is his theory, and we found in science from this point that there are some missing links to his theories. So there's no like completely supporting that things are happening evolutionary this particular way.
right.
But like the skeleton of this is really interesting, because he is talking about, let's say, the survival of the fittest not being necessarily the strongest, but the most convenient at the moment.
Right.
Blackson, I don't know how to send this to you here. Let me see if I can just open another page and send it to you via. Actually, I'll do the same thing. I'll send it to you via email.
Okay.
Well, the inbreeding most likely would it's a good website where they have a lot of his they have a whole catalog of his writings that he would like send to people because at the time that's how they communicated. Is a
Right.
whole website where they have like his writings where he would privately communicate with colleagues
Yes.
and have person. So you can kind of see a lot of stuff there, and also is it was like a table or a chart. It was called Huxley. Is it Darwin, Huxley, Wedgwood, and Galton families? And these people were I know he was cousins with Francis Galton, and
Okay.
they would you would see that he had a lot of birth deformities because he was um because the families was mating within each other.
So that makes sense. So they're carrying like certain phenotypes that are like being carried along through both parents. So more than likely, the offsprings are going to get more likelihood of getting these phenotypes and then passing them on to their children. So, and then if they keep breeding within the family that has the same, genetic trait, then more than likely it's going to be passed on to their children.
Right.
So at least, let's say if you have a child and your child mates with someone outside of your family, you have 50-50 chance of passing that genetic trait on.
Right.
Where in this case, when you're breeding, very closely within your family unit, you're for sure going to pass this on to your children. So, I get that 100%.
Yeah, and the writings, the personal writings is very interesting because he's like having a more casual conversation about the research, and he's giving more of his personal opinion. I think that when you read the origins of species, it's kind of like strictly on the scientific aspects of it, what his research was, as opposed to what he actually feels about the people who he was engaging in. So it's kind of like he kind of opens the door to see kind of what he was thinking as he was doing the research in Galapagos Islands and different areas.
Mm. Hmm. I can imagine. I mean, a lot of people, one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately during my morning runs is Mahatma Gandhi, because when I found out how racist Mahatma Gandhi was, hi Yanga, good to see you here. It really turned me off from his let's say humanitarian point of view, because how can you be humanitarian if you're excluding a whole group of people, right?
Mhm.
So um but it really made me think about how um culturally you have these times, and it happens the same today as it did in the past. You have so much cultural pressure to perform and to think and to present things in a particular way, that you only follow this train of thought. And yeah, so I think that it's a really difficult task these days, and really interesting even in our current climate, especially as we spoke about the COVID-19 just recently. There's so many groups who are really advocating for Fauci, and trying to stand behind him as a whole organization, and his stance as a geneticist, as a scientist, and a professional in this field. One of the issues that I have is how, or whether or not, he's allowed financial gain to skew his professionalism, looking at, is he strictly being a scientist, in all of the political moves that he made, or is he being a politician? And politicians are well known, in the sociological point of view, to be quite ignorant in their positions, and in their ability to look beyond their financial means to make a huge social beneficial decisions. So is Fauci being a true scientist, or is he being a politician? And so this is one of the things that comes up in conversations like that for me, when I'm looking from a psychological point of view, when I'm looking for a biological point of view, and when I'm looking for a sociological point of view. I'm kind of looking at all three angles and going, where are you really standing? And I think Darwin was someone who was very much he was at the cusp of the SS. He had a lot of connections that led right into that horrible, period of time where people were openly and politically annihilating people and experimenting and murdering people in the
Mm,
sake of pseudoscience.
right.
So it's a really tough conversation. Like, where are those lines crossed? Where can we say you were a scientist? Where can we say you were a politicist? Where can we say that you were, really like socially sound? And unfortunately, these days, it's kind of like our NFL and NBA players.
Right.
That everybody's become a free agent. So I think that it's not just limited to ball. It's definitely played its field in science for a long time.
Right. And that's correct. You try to find the line of the connections. I kind of came to the conclusion, um, you know, uh doing research on Darwin, and it kind of takes you into different organizations that he was attached to, and people that he was connected with, and what their agenda was. It seemed to me like he was sort of a person that was just interested in just the raw research of certain things, and they had an agenda behind um, what the research was going to be based on. I was reading. Um, I think it was the Man's Place in Nature by Thomas Huxley,
Hmm.
and I found out that he was connected to Charles Darwin because he would do most of the debating. For Charles Darwin. Darwin wasn't really a person that liked to debate the topic,
He wasn't a social person, no.
right? So it would be Thomas Huxley that would do most of the debating. And when you read about his he actually dealt with the human aspect of the uh theory of evolution, because Darwin don't really touch in that. If you'll see in the origin of species, he never really get into detail about humans. He goes into other
No.
species, but
He more focuses, I mean,
right,
he focuses on humans as the animal,
right,
in the eukaryotic family. Yes, but he doesn't really talk about like humans as this, political and socially driven creature. No.
right. So it's just like uh when I began to so that kind of took me off of Darwin and onto the Huxley family. And you will see that his children and his grandchildren um kind of play like big roles into what we kind of seen develop and eventually into eugenics. And
Yeah.
so it's like,
Um,
but he is connected to Darwin because he
mm,
was, you know, um, doing a lot of the debates. It's another group. I think they called themselves the X Club,
hmm,
and they actually
yeah.
did a lot of research, and it was like kind of like a network of people. I think Thomas Huxley actually was the one that started the group, and these about group of 9 men, they were responsible for actually putting the ideas into the universities of the time of the theory of evolution because the
uh, actually getting a lot of support from Adolf Hitler and the SS as well. And that's where our modern day social services comes from.
And the Bush family. Don't forget the Bush family.
Bush family is always implicated. Yeah, no. But all seriousness, yeah, eugenics
so you say the
is
SS, the social services today comes from the
it
SS.
comes from comes specifically from the SS. So the SS, they actually, through the idea of eugenics, created the program that went in and decided which German children, and not just the history as they give us is the white German children. The first children that they went in and annihilated were all of the black Germans. So
I
you
be telling
find
people
very
that, yeah.
few black Germans that have survived from that era. And because they went in and they exterminated way before the Jews.
Yeah,
The Jews, I understand their claim 2 million people died,
right,
but there's never any mention of the nearly 11 million people who were murdered,
right,
during
right.
that era. And a lot of them were black Germans,
Yes.
kids with disabilities,
Hmm.
anyone who was not construed as the superior race at
Right.
that time. So, yes, they had these, trained specialists that went in, social workers, and these social workers went into people's homes and decided who lived and who died. And this is where our social system of the United States of today comes from.
Very interesting.
Man,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
So
yeah.
I have to leave it there. So sorry, you guys. I
Go
know
ahead,
it's
drop your mic. Go
heavy.
ahead, drop your mic, sis. Drop your mic, sis.
So yeah, sorry to leave it there. But yeah, there's, I mean, such a history. And I keep digging into it because I think that, like, the interesting thing is, like, the intentional disconnection between psychology, sociology, and biology.
Hmm.
And where the real story comes together is when you put all these
Yes.
pieces together and you
Right.
can see the whole picture. So this is where I keep looking as I move forward in my life, and what's important to my children, and what systems I allow to affect them. um, I think it's very important to know, uh, because there's more than this triangle. There's more going on than that. But right there, you guys, I'm gonna leave it for tonight. I always love our conversations, and my family is like biting at the chomp right now because I told them 1 hour. And we're going into 2.5 hours here. So I mean, that's just how exciting you guys are. I just have to say the arena is, there's no other place in the world right now like the arena for me.
Gang, gang.
So yeah, just excited to meet you and talk to you, Solar, and happy to see Yanga in the group, and Deacon, Pyramid, Empress. I mean, just Angel, second Angel. For the first time tonight, we got Lady and Mel, Angel tonight. This has been really exciting. I hope we can go further into some of this, and that I got, like, MD20 is here. Thank you. I hope that we can, like, bring so much more to the table, because I think this is where we can really unravel um, all of these different complexities that we keep dealing with. One of the things, I always talk to Blackson about, that we don't talk about much, is the economic situation, because I think that the economic situation that we are believed to be in, and that we're believed that we have to stay in, is just so vital to this whole scientific conversation. Economics was the first thing they took out of school, guys.
right.
So
Mm.
just remember that. You know.
Well,
So
we got somebody that we want to have you have that economic conversation, and that's MD20. So MD,
I
if
love
we can get
it.
you and MD's schedule to come together, oh, he's got some economics for you. Nature
Would
Mom.
love it. Would love
Yeah,
it. I would love to like
MD.
I mean pick your brain and just really hear what you got to say about it. So absolutely anytime.
Yeah, you see, MD put the eyeballs up when you said that. Yeah,
Oh.
that works
Oh.
offended. Yeah,
I love it. I know Angel, first Angel from Mississippi. I know he's got a lot of economic, information to always add as well. But absolutely, I love the economic because that is also a science, and it keeps getting disregarded as a science, and economics is a science.
absolutely. All right. Hey, before we go, ain't Solar, I sent you a invite to the arena admin. So if you want to accept it, if you're not, it's up to you. I sent a Yame one, he never accepted. So whatever. I got 4 seats available, y'all. 4 seats.
That's
So
a big like honor.
4 seats.
Yeah, I just accepted mine, so I take advantage of these opportunities.
Right, right. So because yeah,
Definitely.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of. In fact, I got to get on my promo. Shout out to Rio. I'm calling this already the debate of the year. Yes,
Wow.
debate of the year.
All right.
All right. So all right. With that being said, man, thank you, Solar. Thank you, Angel Mom. Thank you, Poetic Empress, Gynocracy Takeover, Yanga, Twin. Oh shit. Man, we had a packed house today.
Love
Deacon,
it.
yeah, Korea, Trevor, Hood Therapy, Juju, who else? Who else? Who else? Yeah, we had a packed house. God dang. Everybody, anybody
Love
out here, man, shout out to y'all. And Yanga and Gynocracy has a show coming up later. Wow, debate of the year. Yes, Yanga, debate of the year. Me and Rhea are gonna be debate of the year. Do you have a problem with that, sir? Do you
Yeah,
have
me and Blue called you yesterday, the other day, because we wanted to get some things set up for y'all debate and get a date on that. So you could, I give you a call and see if I could get in contact with Blue and see if we could set a date for y'all debate, Yanga.
shout out to Yanga, shout out to Blue, shout out to Akasha, shout out to Scheme. And y'all, Trevor's hungry. Trevor, Akasha had a debate for you. I don't see you. You talked all that shit. Got represent Team Arena, man. She got a title for you. So shout out
No,
to
no, you
Akasha.
got to check out that group chat because they've been talking. That's when I remember when I said Trevor. I was
Yeah,
reading the group chat and he kind of he
yeah.
backed out, said that he agreed on the topic, so he
Trevor,
inviting her to the podcast to talk about it.
Trevor, don't make us look bad, Trevor. Get up in there. You talked all that. I'll take on anybody. Ah! Now you quiet as a mouse. You Team Arena, Trevor. I ain't gonna let you get away with that. Oh, and by the way, me and MD got some things brewing in the works, so I'm gonna just let MD
Great.
bring that in, bring that to you. So, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's cool. Rio versus Trevor. You know what? Shout out to Trevor. Shout out to Trevor. He is debating
Fantastic.
Rio, and so am I. But unfortunately,
Oh, y'all
me
gotta
and
contact me. Let me lock that in. What's the topic?
Let's go.
okay,
All right,
all
yeah,
right,
I'm
y'all.
gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and
I must
yeah,
go.
fuck
I
that dude.
must go.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. We out, y'all. Peace.
peace.
Peace out.
The arena of six.